What is up, everybody, and welcome back to Lesser Athletes. My name is Chadwell, and today, like always, another interesting video for you here on the channel. Today is my Money in the Bank card predictions. Finally, Money in the Bank is here in Los Angeles. Money in the Bank is one of my favorite PLEs by far, and I really do believe, even though it's a 4-match card, which is a little interesting to me, gotta be honest. Let's start off with that. I feel some great and amazing possible things to come out of Money in the Bank. Now, am I a little worried that could be and possibly is a little underwhelming? Yes. Because I think Money in the Bank to me is a top 5 PLE. You have your Royal Rumble, your WrestleManias, your SummerSlam. Survivor Series hasn't been it. I like Money in the Bank a little bit better than that. So top 5 PLE for me. And I gotta be honest, it's a little underwhelming, but I think we could be intrigued and have a really great card on our hands. We're going to go, like always, from least to most likely predictable. We're going to talk about who I think is going to win, some possibilities, everything like that. Let's get started with Lyra Valkyria versus Becky Lynch for the Intercontinental Champion. 2 PLEs in a row where we get the money or Women's Intercontinental Champion in between. And there is somewhat of a stipulation. I do have to say that stipulation is that Lyra Valkyria has to raise the hand of Becky Lynch if she loses, and Becky Lynch can never go for the Intercontinental Championship again if Lyra wins. For that reason, I lean towards the side of Becky Lynch. Now, I think this Intercontinental Championship was destined to be in Becky Lynch's hands. It's just win. I think the win is now. I think ultimately Lyra Valkyria will lose this championship. I think you could say Bayley could save her, but I lean towards the side of Lyra losing this, Becky winning it, while Bayley raises her hand. Bayley takes out Becky Lynch, maybe even Lyra Valkyria. I don't know. But I think there will be a triple threat coming. What's the next PLE? Saudi? I think it'll happen at Evolution, which I think is next after that. Leading up to a triple threat with them, and then SummerSlam, something else big. I just really believe that the most likely scenario that we have is Lyra losing, Becky winning. And yeah, it just makes the most sense for me. Next, we have the men's Money in the Bank. So I am having 2 videos already recorded about my winners and the possibilities for each person for Money in the Bank. And because I am an evil guy in the sense of this video, I am not going to give all of my Money in the Bank predictions here. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win because I want you to watch that video. What I am going to do is talk about my top 3. And my top 3 personally is Knight, Rollins, and El Grande Americano. Now you might look at me and say, what about Solo Sikoa, Andrade Penta? I'm going to say, watch the video. I'm wanting to talk about it. I'm going to say watch the video because also this video is going to be a little bit of a shorter video. I want you to watch the video ultimately. But let's talk about each one. I'm not going to tell you who I think is going to win. I'm going to give you why each one could win and why they could lose. LA Knight has been in this match for 3 years in a row. He's the most mid-card guy to go and should be ready to go to the main event scene. And he has all the talent in the world to be the main event. Money in the Bank is described for LA Knight. It is ultimately what the Money in the Bank thing should be for, and it makes the most sense to give it to LA Knight. Now, at the same time, Triple H doesn't really like the Money in the Bank concept, and if LA Knight doesn't win it and hasn't won it, I don't know if we really see it winning again, truthfully. And I don't know if we do see LA Knight because there's a lot of interesting storylines that could go on. El Grande Americano, I'll go next because I think Chad Gable, and let's not even say El Grande Americano. Let's just really say Chad Gable. Don't even in the comments. Chad Gable deserves to win Money in the Bank as soon as possible. I mean, for the talent he's had, for the future world champion written all over him. I know he's probably going to be forever a mid-card guy because of his selling, but I really do believe that the Money in the Bank briefcase makes the most sense for him. Am I shocked he's even in this? Yes. So for that reason, can you really put him down as a potential winner? That's the real question here. I think he could easily win this if it wasn't for him going Vikingo going against Vikingo for Worlds Collide. And at the same time, with the storyline with El Grande Americano, would they really have El Grande Americano win the Money in the Bank? I keep going back and forth on it. I think ultimately it will be more than likely not. But I think there's a very high chance that he could win it. And then you have Seth freaking Rollins. I think the Money in the Bank is made for a Seth Rollins, a heel that could cash in at any time and is really the messiah of Monday Night Raw right now. I really believe that is the perfect sense for Seth Rollins to have the Money in the Bank. I think there's a big chance that you could see him, Gunther, or Jey Uso and Gunther having a match, and then all of a sudden, Seth Rollins cashes in. Seth Rollins wins. Then he set up a Seth and Punk feud. I think that's a huge case that we could see happen. At the same time, Punk didn't qualify. Punk could easily cost Seth Rollins. I think that's a bigger case that we could see happening. Also, Roman Reigns. Where has he been? I was lucky enough to be at the Monday Night Raw after, or the Go Home Raw that just happened. I was there, and after the show ended, he mentioned the OTC can't stop me now. I'm better than the OTC. He talked about Roman for a little bit. So there could be hints on there. I got to be honest with you. This is my top 3. We'll see who wins. Up next is John Cena and Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso. There is so many things I have to say about this match. A lot of them not great, but a lot of them could be good. Let's talk about the not great points is that the two, champions are going against each other in a Money in the Bank match. I think ultimately that this is kind of goofy for that to happen, but I get it. You're trying to set up some storylines. I think this is the closest thing we get to Logan Paul and John Cena being in the ring together at the same time. I really do believe that John Cena and Logan Paul just are two hated men, so having John Cena with him is just trying to build the hate on him, and that's why I don't think a match will happen, because people would cheer for Logan Paul. Ultimately, it is going to be John Cena and Logan Paul going against Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso, and I have to be honest, I think it kind of has to be Cody Rhodes and Jey Uso if you want to start setting up Cody Rhodes as a valid opponent, but at the same time, you could also, and I think this is where the most unpredictable start parts come. I think this in the Women's Money in the Bank is the most unpredictable right now for me. I think you could not set him up. I think you could try and tell him not to go after him right away. For that reason, you could set up something else at Night of Champions with Cena and Jay. I don't know. I think that there should be something with Cena ultimately. I think Cena ultimately shouldn't lose and Logan Paul can take the pin. Uso shouldn't take the pin, which maybe it's a take a pin, so you start setting him up with Gunther, but still, I think Goldberg interferes with Gunther, so then you're just even screwing up Jay there on the sense of booking style, and then you can't let Cody take a pin after just returning. So it only makes sense if you do the math to make it Logan Paul, but yeah, I don't also expect a cash-in on here. I know people said, well, there's two champions, you would think the cash-in would happen. Let's just even say that. Let's talk about my top 3. El Grande Americano may be on Jey Uso. I think there should be some storylines if that would happen. Seth Rollins could be an interesting one where I could see him go after Cena because he ruined wrestling, and I think it would make a sense. Or he goes after the title he had, and that's why he's go after Jey Uso. And granted, that would make sense. But Jey Uso and Gunther's already confirmed for Raw, so can't do that one. LA Knight. Maybe he takes it from Cena, but there's no shot that happens. I don't think it will happen with Jey Uso, so that's why I ultimately believe a cash-in's not going to happen. Maybe it'll be teased, but it won't happen. I think that's just at the case we're at, and yeah, it kind of sucks that's where we're at, but I'm not really interested in a tag match. I hope there's going to be some crazy shenanigans. Maybe Travis Scott does get involved, but then ultimately somebody else gets involved on their side for it. We'll see. We will see. Up next is the Women's Money in the Bank match. This is my most unpredictable one. It really is. I am going to kind of say a top 4 on here. I'm kind of giving you who I don't think my top 2 is. I'm giving you my top 4 on here. Who do I ultimately believe could win Money in the Bank? My top 3, I'm going to add Alexa Bliss in here because that's where I think the tier is. is these four. I think, let's talk about Bliss because she's not on here. Hasn't been on TV for a while. Crowd loves her. Would make total, let me say it again, total sense for her to win Money in the Bank. So ultimately, we get her to re-enter the scene and to have a huge pop. Makes a lot of sense, whatever. At the same time, could easily just win it. Just easily go after a world champion and try and win it. I think that's a big possibility as well. So, do I believe in it? Yes. Do I think it'll happen? We'll see. Let's talk about my top three. Let's start off with Rhea Ripley. I think I would be the most upset this happens, but I see the money and the ad revenue and everything with that happening for a Rhea Ripley if that would happen with the merchandise sales of Mommy in the Bank. I think it's the adding to the resume. I think a big factor of this is, and again, Triple H has talked about he doesn't like the Money in the Bank. They could really just burn the Money in the Bank on something with Rhea Ripley on Io Sky if they're setting up a Morgan and Io Sky match, maybe Steph in Io Sky match, and then Rhea ultimately cashes in and loses because you have to think it's an 8 out of 8 right now return. A loss is for sure coming here soon. So ultimately think that's a big possibility with Rhea Ripley, but she doesn't need it. Obviously, I think she's already in line to get a title match in my opinion. Let's talk about Naomi next, and I'll leave the latest debut last. Naomi ultimately, I think, is the favorite, and I think a lot of people think is the favorite. But there is some factors in here that makes me feel like they might not go Naomi. Already kind of been circling around the world title scene. I think personally, she's been there, but she hasn't been utilized. I think the heel persona makes her the most intriguing to win the Money in the Bank. But for the same reason I said with Rhea Ripley about losing it, she has actually Jade Cargill going for her. And she could have Nia Jax go for her. And you have Bianca Belair go for her. For that reason, I don't know if we get Naomi to go win this. I don't think it would be shocking to see Naomi win this, but also lose and not be able to cash in. I really do believe it's a huge possibility of it, but I think she doesn't. If she wins it, I don't know if she'll cash it in. I hope she would, but it's a big question mark. And again, Jade Cargill could cost Naomi. There's Bianca Belair could cost Naomi. There's a big question on that. Then finally, you have Stephanie Vaquero, obviously, debuting and going to Money in the Bank. Now, if that's not a push of century, I don't know what is. I know it's, you could say, oh, she's just here. I mean, even Andrade's in there. I don't know. Just being able to debut on on WWE television and immediately go to Money in the Bank, just a little crazy, especially when Liv Morgan's in the match. And she's already doing double duty with Worlds Collide. So I ultimately think this is my top three. I think Vaquero could easily be somebody that they just put the rocket on and give it to her. I have a video coming out, and one of my takes that I prepared way before she lost the NXT title was when Vaquero comes to the main roster, she will either get the Royal Rumble, because I thought maybe she would go Royal Rumble and win it, or Money in the Bank. Well, here we are. Money in the Bank could be a big possibility, and I don't think it would be shocking with the response she got on Raw, how over she is, the talent she has for her to win this Money in the Bank. So yeah, and I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Check out those videos coming out soon to think who I think is going to win Money in the Bank, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.